Need advice on a computer purchase? No problem. With special coverage on computing, here's Benjamin Rockwell with Computer Talk Radio.
The website, computertalkradio.com. computertalkradio.com. I'm going to give out that website constantly throughout today's show. Why? Because today's show is a special show. We do this once a year. Well, okay, we do it twice a year. This computer buying guide is updated at the 2 times during the year when people are buying computers. The first time is actually in summer. It's right at that back to school time. And then we do it again during, the Christmas shopping season. Now is the time for Santa's little helpers to hook up the sled to the reindeer and head out to Walmart, Costco, Best Buy, or the local computer retailer. Bells and bows, ribbons, and saying, ho, ho, ho. This is the time to make sure that your purchase is absolutely perfect. It's absolutely right. So we do this. And again, computertalkradio.com has, I don't want to call it my script because I don't stick to this script all the way through. I use it a lot as guidelines, but it's set down in written format for you to print out if you want, for you to take to the store for your shopping and so forth. And all of this really comes to the point that there's clearly a point in time when you and I must decide to purchase a brand new computer. Sometimes it's gift giving. Sometimes it's a matter of that old one is way too old. For this season, I've actually updated a bunch of this stuff. I've cleaned out some old stale stuff that we don't need anymore, and I've taken the time to make your new computer purchase really a lot easier. Some of the thoughts and considerations that we've had in the past, even as short ago as back in summertime, they've been adjusted downwards. Others have been pushed upwards. We've removed some of the must-haves. We've scaled back a few decisions that you might make, and we've made this easier yet again. Now, we're going to be going through a number of different things. We're going to be doing it in a little bit different order than we've done for about the last 3 or 4 years. Why? Because the considerations are different. We've got a new item that we're inserting in as a consideration that we haven't really touched on in the past. We've touched on it. We've talked about it. But hang with me. We'll get to it. Remember, above all, that nothing dictates this computer purchase that you're going to make better than what you have right now, how old it is, and what it is not capable of doing, and what the new computers are capable of doing. And sometimes we're dealing with speed. Other things might be that the programs that you used to use are no longer available. You're not going to find Pong on the latest Windows 10 PCs. I'm sorry, but we've got to find a replacement for that. The purchase decisions that you're given the chance to choose from are significant. From your operating system to the amount of memory you need to the size of your screen, we've got the right answers for you. Now, as always, if you have any questions along the way as to your purchasing decision, our entire team is available for you. You can contact us through the website, and I'll give that out at the beginning of the next break. Contact us, and we're going to help you decide. We're all about making sure you make the right purchase. And this is one of those things where you may actually be at that crossing point right now. You may have already made a purchase even, and it's getting ready to go under the tree, and you may find that you need to make some changes. So I decided to move this up just a little bit. We were going to do this the week before Christmas, and I realized that's just way too late. So here we go. First off, the major options. We've got one new major option in this. We usually have talked about desktops, laptops, or tablets. Tablets we entered in about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. We've got a new option, which is called the all-in-one. It's kind of like the desktop, and it's kind of like a laptop in some ways because they're delivering the screen with it. Now, this used to be an easy decision, and we would tell people, look, get the desktop. If you need a laptop, you're going to know that you need a laptop. That was the old thinking. That was quite a while ago. In the consumer world, however, more laptops are sold than desktops. And laptops and desktops really have accounted for the majority of all of the web surfing activities, meaning smartphones still haven't really caught up. Now, that means that, also tablets haven't caught up. This is an indicator that the mobile market, as far as tablets are going, is still not a mature realm for web surfing activities. So I kind of want to just mention the tablet concept, and many people will go with that tablet concept. Let's see. Let's talk about the downsides of laptops first. This is what we used to do. I've owned somewhere around a dozen laptops. I've always liked them. At the same time, I use my desktop PCs 75% of the time or more. A laptop is vulnerable to all kinds of abuse that your desktop is never going to see. Additionally, the price is, it's actually about the same as a comparable PC, but the life expectancy is about 75% of the time of a desktop. Why? Because, my son has actually damaged one of the screens. I've damaged one of the screens over the years. The idea of you're constantly plugging it in and unplugging it, that will create a kind of a disaster zone for you. The screen options for some users may not be suitable. I mean, some of those laptops, they've got an 11-inch screen, a 13-inch screen. And if you are getting older, that kind of vision issue is a prime concern for you. Now, you do have the portability. You have the ability to take your computer at a moment's notice to someone who can help you. You can also keep that out on the road. You can watch movies on the road. There's no more of that whole DVD player in the car. You just bring along a laptop and the kids are entertained. Now, a desktop is more cumbersome. You can't exactly take it everywhere you go, not even really most places you go. That is one of those things that kind of weighs out. There is more power for the upgrades in desktops, but most people don't even bother with the upgrades these days. There's a couple of upgrades you might go with, the solid-state drive, and we talked about that on a recent episode with Keith M. Cedar, or a matter of that SSD. If you're going in some routes with the laptops, you need to make sure that it's an upgradable laptop. Otherwise, get the SSD now. Now, the all-in-ones, they're a neat category. They bring that concept closer from the desktop towards the laptop. And we kind of have Mac to thank for that innovation. This is now a viable area. I did not think this was a viable area 6 months ago. But a lot of companies are coming out and they're shooting down this road with the all-in-ones. Why? Because you get that touchscreen capability. You get a lot of that concept of everything's built together. Plus, also, that monitor, you just don't save that monitor anymore. You get a 24-inch monitor or a 22 or a 27 with that all-in-one, and then you're replacing it again when you go down the road. I don't like this all-in-one concept per se because I like a lot of monitors, but that's okay. We do this with the laptops. And I think this is going to be part of the industry holding on to people who like the simpler architecture, but we're going to see how that all turns out. Tablets, they're in a nice, exciting price range, and they're a distinct option for some people. The greatest advantage that people are doing is they're choosing those tablets as an interim replacement for a full system. They get an extra year or sometimes even 2 out of their existing hardware by having this ultra portable tool that they can take throughout the rest of the house. So this is one of those things. Apple has been pushing hard in this sector, and they've got a really good leg up on all of this. Samsung has tried a few times. Of course, we know of their issues earlier this year. There's a bunch of ups and downs that exist with the tablets. I'm going to tell you right now, brand name. Brand name is key. The Apple iPad in its various sizes, the Mini, the Pro, and so forth. Samsung does have them in Kindle. If you're already in the Kindle infrastructure, that's good. If you're looking to save a few bucks, this is pretty much where I'm going to leave you here. I'm going to say basically, as far as tablets, don't be tempted by the name brands, the no-name brands. These brands you've never heard of. They're not going to do you all that well. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. There's so much. We're going to talk about budget points. We're going to talk about, yes, Windows, Mac, or Linux. We do this every time. What kind of options you have for the CPU, hard drive space, and more. All on this very special show here on Computer Talk Radio. Let me tell you about The Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio, so I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with theradiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time. theradiofactory.com. The website. This is where you can find, yes, this Christmas holiday buying guide for your computers. It's a Christmas computer buying guide. I have this on the home page. This is right up at the top. You look for the big, huge green, well, it's not even it's a small little green present, but you can look at that, again, computertalkradio.com. And you can print all of this out. You can follow along right now. You can follow along with what I'm talking about. And I'm sticking mostly to the guidelines I put up there, but I want you to understand some of these different things. If you have any questions, of course, you can contact me through the show website as well, computertalkradio.com. Now let's talk about the budget point. And this is really the big decider for most people. Your budget is your money. Your budget is kind of the decider on what computer you get. I mean, there are guidelines. If you are a multimillionaire, I'm going to give you some guidelines. Don't spend anything over what the overkill range is. Okay? And don't spend, if you do not have enough to buy the minimum level laptop, you need to save up some more money. You need to really scrape and put it together so that you can afford the minimum. Why? Well, we'll get into that here in a moment. There is no right or wrong answer when we talk about deciding these budgets, but I want you to make sure that you're not going to drive yourself broke for no reason at all, and you're not going to pinch pennies until they hurt your hand. You're going to go with what's best for you. So these are rough guidelines, and various brand names, by the way, will skew this, and so will the features, but it gives you this idea when you're dealing back and forth with different computers with knowing what a realistic price point should be. We all kind of know that if you go on out and you buy a brand new car for $10,000, you're getting kind of that minimum car out there. If you spend $25,000-$30,000, you're getting kind of that low end sweet spot. If you search around, you can find the right deal in that category where it's going to get you a long life and it's going to be a lot of comfort. You spend $50,000-$60,000, yeah, you're going to be getting into that really high end sweet spot. And then you go over that and you start getting into those cars that are fully loaded. You start talking about something that is, the loaded Cadillac. And then the overkill, of course, that's your Lamborghini, that's your Bugatti Veyron and stuff like that. I do the same thing here with the computers. The minimum, that's the minimum price point. This is where the computer is new. It's getting ready to be priced to move out the door and to be replaced by another level of machine. If you spend less than this, what's going to happen is you might save $50, but you're going to get a system that is already 2 years older than it should be, or maybe even 3 years. It's going to be nowhere near as powerful as what you want, or what you could get for just spending those few extra dollars. It's one of those things where there's a lot of hype about, oh, this still has great value. You aren't going to be able to play the latest games on a minimum level. It's meant for word processing, internet, some YouTube, and so forth. The sweet spot, that's going to get you the best bang for your dollar. It's not going to be bleeding edge, but you're going to be spending enough to warrant a decent system for the entire lifetime ahead of it. I've got a range for this, and I use a range concept, which is a matter of if you spend somewhere in this range, you look around for the systems that you like, and it's going to work out well. Again, we go into that loaded thing, that loaded category. That's that leading edge area. There's some extra things thrown in. It's going to give you a better speed. It's going to give you a better appearance. It's also going to give you better durability. It's not overly aggressive, and yet this is right where you want to be. If you're speccing computers for business, this is the range you're going to spend on them. And that's because the computers are going to be getting extra usage. Time is money. Your time at home is money. Your time at the office is money. So we apply that to this loaded category. And when we load these up, this is going to get you that ideal, just great area for you. It's going to have a lot of power. The sweet spot, again, is kind of that guideline, and you'll see they kind of merge together. And then again, overkill. Overkill doesn't mean that you can't buy it in this price range. This is going to be for people who know that there's something special they want out of the system. They're using some very specialty software, some computer-assisted drafting stuff, and so forth. Now, I've changed how I figure people are buying gaming desktops and laptops. That's adjusted the price, also the pricing that's in here. Also, due to inflation, some other different common configurations, there's a number of things that have adjusted these prices. Also, the new Microsoft Surface, the Apple MacBook prices, they've actually driven some of the prices up in my guidelines. So review these prices and see how they work for you. Now, let's go here. Desktop. Minimum price point, $275. Your sweet spot, about $475 to $975. Yeah, that's a wide range, $500 roughly to $1,000. But you know what? If you're buying something in that price range, you look at the different specs we're going to talk about a little bit later, and you're going to find that, yeah, I'm going to pay a little bit more for that hard drive, but I'm still sticking in that sweet spot range. Loaded, $1,100. Overkill, $1,875. Yeah, almost $2,000. I remember when $2,000 bought you kind of a middle-of-the-road computer. All-in-one. The all-in-ones, yeah, they're going to add on a little bit of a price because of those screens. And I've compressed them down. I don't want you spending a whole lot on these, basically because they do have those built-in monitors. Still, they're pretty good. $450 is the minimum. $750 to $1,300 is the sweet spot. I don't advise the loaded or overkill. However, $1,475 and $1,850 for loaded and overkill. The gaming desktop. Now, this is a specialty category. This is if you're really into the video gaming. You're doing things like what they call first-person shooters. You're dealing with a lot of heavy graphics. So the gaming desktop and the gaming laptop are very similar in that they are priced significantly higher. $850 is the minimum. $1,375 to $2,150 for a sweet spot. Loaded, $2,200. I know that's really kind of compressed in there, but I'm kind of keeping you from spending too much. The overkill, because there are some specialty items, yeah, $3,075. The gaming desktop actually is being revised. It's actually a higher price overkill than the gaming laptop. And the reason why is I don't want you spending a ton of money on that gaming laptop. We'll get back to that, though. The laptop, the regular laptop, the normal laptop, $375. With a sweet spot of $650 to $1,250. Loaded, $1,450. Overkill, $1,700. Okay, that again, both of that's also a lower price than the Overkill desktop. Gaming laptop, $850. $1,250 to $2,000 for the sweet spot, $2,100 for loaded, and $2,575 for the Overkill. That's $500 less that I want you spending on that gaming laptop versus the gaming desktop. Okay, now I consider Mac and some non-Windows items out there to be specialty items that exist out of the normal entire pricing structure. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason other than a brand name, the screen size, or some of these different functionalities that are built into these systems that's going to affect these pricing points. One of the ideas that you need to look at is, does this have something really weird in it that's driving that price up? And it may. So we need to, again, go through these prices. We want to kind of encourage you to stick with these prices. So, again, the Apple stuff, it's going to be a little bit different of a price range. This is mostly for the Windows PC market. And we're going to talk about that here in a lot more detail here on Computer Talk Radio in just a moment. I'm constantly looking for the right place to get computer hardware. It's not easy, as there are so many stores that have gone out of business, so many shady characters online, or they're simply not capable of handling diverse needs. In 1979, two guys got together and built a computer company that could serve your nerdy needs. Micro Center. The wide range of products at Micro Center includes even the latest of Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and other hobbyist-level computers. They also have drones. They've got them in all price categories, from toys to, oh boy. Look, you're looking for console gaming, home automation. Micro Center's got that. Hardware, software, accessories, or, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. From Apple to Zyxel, Micro Center has what you're looking for. 25 stores across the nation, or you can check them out online at microcenter.com. That's microcenter.com. The website, let me have you jot this down, or you can go to the website and join in. It's computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. And I am sending you there because, well, if you missed any of this, the audio is going to be available online. We also have all of the, everything here. It's all written down online. I have all of my notes online for you to reference for your shopping right now, or maybe if you've decided, hey, I need to take that one back. That's fine. We're all set here. The next question is one that it's kind of the tough question, and I cover this every time. It's Windows, Mac, or Linux. And this is part of that Ultimate Undecided Argument series. It's classic Star Trek or J.J. Abrams Star Trek. It's concept of Stargate or Firefly, steak or vegan. I'm not here to draw lines and say you must choose a specific computer out there. But I'm giving you guidelines that are going to help. There's a lot here. Before you choose something that you have not experienced yet, before you make the jump from Windows to Mac, or Mac to Windows, or Windows to Linux, or Mac to Linux, or any of this, if you're jumping ship on what you currently have, I want you to experiment in the store or with a friend, not for 15 minutes, not even for a matter of an hour. I want you to spend at least 2, if not 3 hours getting deep into the system and figuring out, can I work with this? Many people find that they are best sticking with what they already know. I will tell you, making the migration from Windows to Mac is easier than moving from Mac to Windows. Making the jump from any Linux system over to Windows or Mac is a lot easier than jumping into Linux. Linux is it's different. It's a lot different. Anyways, by the numbers, what people have purchased over the past 10 years, 15 years has actually changed a little, but not much. Windows, according to netapplications.com, this is they do a lot of this tracking. Windows, 91.39% of the market. Mac, 6.42% of the market. Linux and everything else, 2.18% of the market. Look, there's no reason for you to go with Linux. That's the simple answer. If you have very little money and you want to get a Chromebook, I'm not going to talk you out of it. The Chromebook is going to be $150, $180, somewhere in there. But I'm going to try and suggest you don't. You can actually run Linux on an older computer. As a matter of fact, you want to upgrade your older computer. If you already have an older computer, you want to upgrade it. It's going to be cheaper than going on out and getting a Linux system. There are a number of little tweaks and twists that we can do, and we've talked about this in the past. So this is actually about a 5% reduction in usage, by the way, 2.18. They're down just a little bit. They were up just a little higher. Windows is up about 2% of overall users. Basically, that's not much of a jump, but they've increased 2% over what they had. The nice things about Windows, support is available at most major stores, all right, including support, some of it, at Apple stores. There is, of course, the availability of software. There's a lot of stuff out there that's availability of free software. A lot of the games, if this is a gaming system, the Mac may not be the best direction for you. A lot of companies do have them. A lot of companies do have games in both markets, but it's really the biggest games. The upgrades to your hardware are simple. The units are designed for the ease of upgrades. At the same time, many folks aren't upgrading their hardware that often. You know, you might upgrade your hard drive. You might add in some more memory. And lastly, with Windows, the big thing in its favor is the initial purchase is distinctly lower than Mac hardware. I am going to note, Windows, if you're sticking in the Windows market, Windows 10 is the only option for most people. Okay, yes, there are major privacy issues with Windows 10, but we're posting our entire lives out there on Facebook. You and I are spending so much time telling the entire world when we go on vacation, including the burglars that can break into our house. Let's think about what are we complaining about in regards to Windows 10, and there are ways to turn it off. There are ways to make your Windows 10 system more private. Windows 7 is still out there, but barely. And the reason why I say it's still out there, even though it's officially been given the drop dead notice, you can't sell any more of them, there's still stuff on the shelves. There's still stuff that's out there that has to be cleared out. This may be something where you might consider it, but I'm not convinced it's worth it. You're not going to get the Windows 10 upgrade, which is a problem. And the Windows 10 privacy invasion, by the way, it's been extended to Windows 7. So if you're in the Windows market, just make the jump now to 10. Mac OS. There are a lot of different reasons for people to choose the Mac OS. Keith M. Sedor, of course, he would say that everybody should be running a Mac. He is a Mac professional, after all. I do think that there are certain people that belong in the Mac environment. If you're looking to expand your computer experience and you've tried out the Macs, go for it. If you're adventurous, you want to try that out, you can go for it. There are options for people who want to run Windows on a Mac system, on an Apple system. There's software called Parallels. There's also software called VMware Fusion. Very good workable solutions. There are also people who are in specific industries, the design industry, where you're dealing with Photoshop or the video or stuff like that. If you know the software is available only on a Mac and not on a PC, that's a direction to go in as well. New users in the computer world, if you've got support for the Mac, try it out. Examine it. Try out Windows next to a Mac. And if you're in an environment that is otherwise dominated by Macs, and of course, if you already had a Mac, definitely. Now, these are just guidelines. Just guidelines as far as which operating system to go with, but you've got an idea there. This is Benjamin Rockwell. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I'll be back with more in just a moment.
Hi, this is Benjamin Rockwell. Most of us use digital cameras nowadays, but what do we do with those old pictures and slides in the back of the closet? Well, let me tell you about Legacy Digital Productions. They specialize in taking your old memories on film, videotape, and slides and digitizing them to DVDs. If you have boxes of old slides, then you know they fade more and more each year. Let Legacy Digital scan them for you and stop the aging process dead in its tracks. You'll get beautiful 10-megapixel digital files, color-corrected and ready for printing. All this is done faster and cheaper than buying a film scanner and doing it yourself. Your files are then burned onto gold archival DVD discs where they will last for generations. Call right now, mention my name, Benjamin Rockwell, and receive a 30% discount on your order. Call toll-free 1-866-2-LEGACY. That's 1-866-2-LEGACY. And tell them Benjamin sent you. Your memories are priceless, so call 866-2-LEGACY now.
The website, computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. I have been covering our annual Christmas computer buying guide now throughout this entire show. Everything is up online at computertalkradio.com. The entire audio is going to be up there. The entire, there's a lot more notes than what I'm going through right here. I am delivering a lot of this stuff to you right now, but there's a lot of information that's online that I've skipped over just because I want to fit this all into, the entire show. So please check it out online. Now, let's get into the brand concept. Now, a brand is not something that you have to go with. You must go with Lenovo. That's the brand I'm telling you to buy. And I don't do that. I don't say, okay, look, all right, yes. If you want a Mac, if you want the Mac OS system, that's easy. There is no other brand other than Apple. There was something called the Hackintosh concept. That died off. It wasn't worth the headache to you, to me, to anybody, except for the really hardcore nerds back then that were just trying to prove something. Now, moving beyond that, from past history, I've had good luck with some brands and not so good luck with other brands. I'm going to tell you if somebody is making a computer for you. We call those white box vendors, even though the boxes are black now. Those white box vendors, these companies are making them, quote, cheaper and better than the brand names. The thing is, they're not cheaper and they're not better. I used to do this. I used to build computers way back in the day, and yes, back then they were cheaper, and yes, they were better. That was 15. No, it was more than that. Well, we'll call it 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you could do that. 15 years ago, you could do that. Today, no. If you're a novice, go for a brand name company that you've heard of. You want somebody who's got an established reputation for quality in either the laptop or the desktop, in my order of preference, from my experience and reviews and all of that. Lenovo. They've been number one for us for, I think this is about the third or fourth edition where they've been up at the top. HP, Hewlett-Packard, they're doing quite well. Still, they've run into some hiccups along the way. Dell is on this list. I'm reserving judgment a little bit on Dell. They've run into a few little problems lately with me, some of the hardware I've been dealing with. So I'm not exactly keen on them, but they're there. So just be aware that that's an option. Asus. Asus, this is the first time I've actually had Asus on here, ASUS. They do a nice job. I've seen a lot of nice computers coming from them. Acer has been having some different issues here and there. So I stick with Lenovo, HP, Dell, and Asus. There are nuances between each brand. You're going to pay a little bit more for certain brands. You'll notice that when you're comparing up their systems. But they're actually all pretty well competitive. Lenovo has rocked the world with outstanding pricing, support, sales volume, all of this. So they're going to be sticking around. If you want to get into deeper details, you can drop me a line at computertalkradio.com. Now, let's get into the CPU portion, and this is really the key differentiator between multiple systems that people run into problems with. I'm going to talk about, throughout the rest of the show, things like the hard drive and the amount of memory you use and stuff like that. But the CPU is your key issue here. You need to make sure that you're comparing to the proper generation of CPUs and not older generations. Okay, how do you tell? So what happens is there is a number at the beginning and then some numbers following it. Originally, the first generation i7 was i7-3 or 4, followed by two more numbers. Okay, so 300, 400. Okay. The second generation, i7-2000 or i3-2000 or i5-2000. The third generation, the i-whatever-3000, and it could be 3052, 3598, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. It's that first number out of the 1000 series that gives you an idea of which generation. Within the generation, those numbers are not comparable to each other. A 4500 may actually be worse than a 4150. So you need to utilize a website out there that I utilize. You can drop me an email if you want. But CPU Boss, Central Processing Unit, CPU boss.com, and you can compare up the specific CPU models, and they will actually give you a lot more information. For instance, if you're comparing up AMD chips, and the AMD chips, they're actually really good. They're perfectly fine. You can go with those, but you're going to want to make sure you run the comparison check between the two of them. If you run into any problems, you want a comparison between two different CPUs, two different entire desktops or laptops, drop me the information. Again, go to computertalkradio.com, scroll down to where it says Contact Us, and I will help you out. That's part of my mission here, is to make sure that you get the right computer for you. This is Benjamin Rockwell. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I'll be back in just a moment. Years ago, I found a web hosting company that fit my needs as a computer nerd, as a radio show host, and just a normal person. Recently, though, it was clear to me that it was time to upgrade. But I had a choice between my old plan and the new one at 7 times the cost. It was that awkward point where I could choose between a sip of water or being dunked in a pool. I searched around, comparing the many options for someone like me. After searching around for 3 weeks, there it was, SiteGround. In proper fashion, I tested their customer service, their knowledge, and their willingness to do things the right way. The SiteGround salesman made sure that I didn't overbuy and get a 50-gallon bucket when a 32-ounce soda would do. These guys know WordPress, Joomla, and regular standard websites. These guys at SiteGround are awesome. SiteGround.com. Site, S-I-T-E, ground.com. Throughout all of this, there's so many different things to cover. And because of that, I'm going to say again, computertalkradio.com. Everything that we're covering, the text, all of my notes are up online. I'm not going to be able to hit all of my notes here. I've already skipped over certain things, and I've left them up online. So you're aware that they're there, computertalkradio.com. Let's dive into one more major area, which is kind of a telltale area of what the system is like, and that is the hard drive. The hard drive is your storage space. It's crucial to storage, and even your low-end computers are going to come with enough hard drive space for your average person. Unless you're doing something like video editing, you're not going to likely need more drive space right now. We don't see anything on the horizon that says you're going to need more drive space before your computer needs replacing. The average system these days is coming with 500 gigabytes. That's half a terabyte of old-fashioned hard drive. Now, that's old-fashioned hard drive. That's what we call the rotating memory. That's the, you'll see a number 5200, 7400 RPM. That's how fast that drive goes. Now, even if you're dealing with a lot of MP3s, you can fit 10,000 songs into about 40 gigs. You've got a 500 gig hard drive. You're doing fine. Now, if you've got more than this much music, more than 10,000 songs, 20,000 songs, you probably already know you're obsessing. You already know that you probably need a larger hard drive. Now, I suggest if you go in this direction, you go for an external hard drive. I put in an SSD drive into my new desktop. They didn't have them available in the standard desktops. I said, no, we're going to get a solid-state drive, and then I'm going to take the internal 2-terabyte hard drive, and I'm going to use that as a data drive. You can do this with an external drive as well. Most systems are not coming with these solid-state drives these days. They're doing this as an add-on in the store. I will tell you, it is really inexpensive to do this add-on. The hardware for a 250 gig SSD should be right in that $100 range or so. It's worth it. The speed is amazing. And again, you take that original hard drive, that 2-terabyte hard drive is now my secondary drive. I store everything on that. And this is really basically anything that doesn't need the speed. This is one of those things. There are things called hybrid hard drives. Don't bother with those. They talk about the 8 gigabyte solid state drive. No, it's not worth the headaches. It's one of those things. It will get you some additional speed, but it's not a good selling point. Again, the hard drive, you can look at the size. You can say, all right, they're giving me this size. This is kind of, they're thinking this for the system. They're thinking it's a basic system. Oh, wow, look at this size hard drive. They're thinking, wow, this is going to be the thing to last me forever. Great. You kind of weigh it out. There's a lot more online, of course. This is Benjamin Rockwell. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio and our annual Christmas computer buying guide.
Let me tell you about The Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio, so I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with the radiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time. TheRadioFactory.com.
Need advice on a computer purchase? No problem. With special coverage on computing, here's Benjamin Rockwell with Computer Talk Radio.
The website, computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. If you have been listening to this week's show, it is all about the Christmas computer buying guide. It's available online. The audio is there. The entire audio of the show is there. The entire text is there. If you've missed any of this, computertalkradio.com. All right, so let's go back to this entire list. There's a lot of stuff here, and we've already covered in the first hour. We have covered the basics of the options. And we've added in that new option. So desktop, all-in-one, a laptop, a tablet. So we've got those different choices. We've got the different budget points. And I break this down into the minimum, the sweet spot, the loaded, and then the overkill. So you've got a kind of an idea. If you go into the Costco and you say, all right, I'm going to buy a $500 system that's a desktop, you already know that you're in the right price range. If you want a laptop that's in that sweet spot range, I'm going to tell you it's $650 to $1,250. And again, this is all up online. We also have the discussion there of the options between Windows, Mac, or Linux. We've also talked about brands, CPUs, the hard drive storage space. So now this is where we dive in and we get into some of the deeper areas of the system, the different options that you might be dealing with as far as these systems go. One of the issues is the amount of RAM. This is your live memory space. Now, I talked about this before. As far as the hard drive is your storage space. This is where everything gets stored away when your computer goes off. Your live memory space is what the computer is thinking about right now. And RAM used to be very important. It still is important, and it is a great way to increase the speed. Almost all computers are going to run faster with more memory to work with. Now, there is a point where you're going to have enough, and more is not going to make a whole lot of difference. For simple upgraders, I always point to this as the first stopping point for improving a system. If you're running less than 8 gigs of memory, this is one of the first places to improve any computer. Now, you have to be running this 64-bit operating system to go above 4 gigs of memory. That's just the way the computers run and how they work. But, all right, for a new computer, though, because this is the Christmas computer buying guide, we can still use the amount of memory as a guideline for what computer we're going to get. The quickest, easiest answer. I saw some 2 gigabyte systems out there when I was going through and prepping this all up for broadcast. The answer is no. 2 gigs is not enough. 4 gigs. 4 gigs, 64-bit operating system minimum. If it has less, you move on. 8 to 12, 16 gigs, that's better. Now, this is with the knowledge that right now you only need 8 gigs. But computer programmers keep looking at this concept. They're like little kids. Computer programmers say, okay, I'm going to push the envelope. I'm going to push the edges a little bit. And what they do is they make their programs bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, you're buying a little bit of room right now to avoid the headaches in the future. Because those programmers are going to make those programs larger and larger and larger. 4 gigs right now is a good starting point. If you get that now, you will be upgrading. You will want that upgrade at least 8 gigs. But we also need you to make sure that that system, whatever system you're looking at, you need to make sure that that system is going to take that upgrade. How do we check that out? Well, we can find out. We can find out what the maximum amount of RAM is that system will take. You can run that up online. You can check the specs. Usually, again, the major name brands, they're going to tell you how much RAM it'll take. Here's another trick for you. Go to the website crucial.com, Crucial.com. They're not an advertiser. They're not a sponsor. None of that. They are just a good company, and they run a nice, neat little tool. They sell memory at a good price. They stand behind it. But here's the thing. They will tell you how much memory that system can be upgraded to. And this is a little tip that you can utilize for yourself as well if you want to just upgrade your system. So, hey, we killed 2 birds with 1 stone today. All right, so now let's move on to video graphics cards. Now, the video graphics card in your system is what sends all of the information to your screen. It used to be that we could do video graphics for, I remember back in the day, it was small. It was like, this has 256 megs of RAM. Oh, this has 32 megs of RAM. These days, 1, 2, 4 gigs. I saw a 32 gig card the other day that we have to order. And it just boggles my mind. It's one of those things that the world has kind of changed. On your budget machines, you can go with integrated or shared graphics. They're going to chew into your RAM. Again, we just talked about RAM. So if you get something that has integrated graphics and you have 4 gigs of RAM, well, you don't have 4 gigs of RAM because your integrated graphics card is going to take 1 gig of that. So if you're into any kind of gaming, the video, all of that's going to be slower. You need a separate card if you're going to be into this heavy gaming. If you're spending over $650 on a desktop and it has a separate card, then that's good. Integrated graphics or shared graphics memory should not be an item that you see on the specs for any system over about $650, $750. If you see that, you're getting ripped off. There are 2 major brands for the gamers, NVIDIA or AMD. Or actually, ATI used to be the name for AMD, for those cards. Basically, they merged. There are caveats about custom systems and add-on cards, and I am going to caution you. I've got this caution that I've used for a long time. You can go through, you can upgrade your video card. There's nothing wrong with upgrading your video card, and I encourage this. As a matter of fact, most of my systems, typically I will upgrade the video card. The video card that they come with is just not the full-blown system that it could be. So what do we do? Well, I don't want you to spend more than about $75 on a video card without knowing specifically that you need that particular card. Okay, why? Okay, certain video games say you've got to have this particular chipset. You've got to have an NVIDIA XYZ, whatever it is, card. And that's fine. And you have to make sure that you get that particular card. Now, that's over on the desktop side, and that's usually a gamer system, and that's usually something that you know what you're doing. On laptops, you can sometimes upgrade the card as well, but I'm going to suggest that you reserve this only for if you really know you can do it and that you need it, and even then, I'd move into a gaming laptop before I did any kind of an upgrade. The next item I'm going to talk about, just for space here, the optical drive. The whole DVD writer used to be standard. It is going away. This used to be common in all desktops. We would have a CD drive, and then we moved to the DVD drive, and that was just a reader. And then we had, it was the CD, then the CD writer, then the DVD reader, then the DVD writer, then the Blu-ray. And there's Blu-ray writers out there. It doesn't matter. Many systems aren't coming with them. If this is an important issue, I want to shift you to an external drive. I want you to utilize one that's going to connect to your USB 3 connection. I want you to use an external one, especially you may not have an option. If you're in most of the laptops these days, they're just getting rid of them because of their size. And even the media that we're dealing with these days is coming not on a DVD. It's actually coming on your thumb drives, your flash drives. So this is one of those things where we've seen this shift, and I suggest this as an option for you if you need it. But I am also saying don't buy it now unless you absolutely are sure that you have to have one. That's just me, though. It's just the nerd on the radio, Benjamin Rockwell. And you're listening to, of course, Computer Talk Radio. We're going to talk about monitors next here on, yes, Computer Talk Radio.
Let me tell you about the Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio. So I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with theradiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time. theradiofactory.com.
The website, computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. Everything that I'm giving you here is suggestions. It's all available online, but these are suggestions for you to do, well, a better job as far as your purchase of your new computer for, yes, the Christmas season. It's, again, the 2016 Christmas Computer Buying Guide. Available at computertalkradio.com. All right, let's get into monitors. Your screens are your primary interaction with your computer. This is your view into the videos, the games, the information on the internet. This is the one area where I still see people saying, oh, yeah, I've got a 14-inch screen and that's all I'm going to need. You've got a brand new gaming system and you've got this monitor that is 15 years old. And I understand that. We used to say, you're going to buy a monitor and you're not going to upgrade it because it's going to be the same thing for years and years and years. It still works. But here's the thing. These days, you want to get a widescreen monitor if you don't have one already. And really, at this point, I'm looking at, if you can afford it, consider two 24-inch class monitors. Why do I say that? Because right now, you can get two of them for about $250. That's not a piece. That's together. About $120, $125 a piece. These guys give you a combined display area, 40 inches wide, and that's wonderfully viewable. Dual 24-inch monitors is the sweet spot for productivity, and I love that. I utilize 4 monitors at the office. 2 of them, actually 3 of them are 24-inch monitors. 2 of them are my primary monitors. The other 2 are secondary monitors. they're there so I can look over to a different screen and say, all right, that's still running. And then I look back. They're not really for everything that I'm dealing with right now. It's like the return on a desk. There's an ideal size for a desk for everybody. And the idea of this desk that's, like 26 inches wide. No, I want a desk which can fit all of the different paperwork I'm dealing with. So, sometimes you've got the desk and then you've got that return. That's the thing along the side where we used to put the typewriter. Well, now that's where my extra monitor is, over on that return. So, laptops, the smaller the laptop, the smaller the screen. We know that. If you want a light laptop without the drives that's small, you're going to have a smaller screen. The standard size in the laptops is 15.6 inches. And this is just a standard out there. There are smaller ones. So there's the 15-inch class, the 13-inch class, the 11-inch class, and some folks have in-betweens. There's a 17-inch class, and even larger. You can get a 19 and a 21-inch screen on a laptop. But this is one of those things that I reserve this for people who are looking for what we call desktop replacements. This is for students who are at college. They're mostly going to be sitting at a desk, but you kind of know that you want the bigger monitor, and you don't need to lug it around, the whole big system as much. A tablet size, get what's comfortable. I like the full-size iPad. The smaller iPad mini, those do well. Older folks, people who have vision problems, you might want a larger screen. You're going to kind of want to figure this out, though. Try it out. Youth, anywhere from 5 to 25, are going to be just fine with the smaller screens. They adapt pretty quick there. The resolution is something that's a factor to take into consideration. If you've got a smaller screen, you might want to compare that resolution. A higher resolution means items may appear smaller, but you're able to fit more items onto the same screen. So let's say it's 1920 by 1080. That's how many pixels are on the screen. You can fit a bunch of different icons in that size. But if that screen size is really small, everything's going to be smaller, so you might change that resolution. So compare them out. Another option that is really key for people to consider these days, if your system comes with a keyboard and mouse, I'm going to place the estimated price on that keyboard as about $7. The mouse, $4. Maybe even cheaper than that. But here's the thing. The quality on those keyboards that come with the HP system or the Dell system or whatever it is, this is desktops, the quality on these are going to hold you back. These are going to be rough. These are going to be horrible. I strongly suggest that you consider an upgrade if you have the budget. You do not have to go my direction. For instance, okay, I've got a Cherry MX board 6.0 sitting actually right here in front of me in the studio. And I'm going to tell you, this is a big, huge, monstrous. I mean, it's a standard size keyboard, but it's, as far as keyboards go, this is tough. This is, if somebody breaks in to the office, I'm going to be able to beat them over the head with this. I'm more worried about their head than I am about this keyboard. I also use a specific mouse at the home and at the office. I use a Logitech keyboard at the office. But the M705 Logitech mouse, this isn't a plug for Logitech or anything like that. I just happen to know off the top of my head, this is the mouse that I use because I use specific functions on this particular mouse. You're thinking, wait a second, a mouse is only have, you've got the left click, right click, and then you've got the wheel. So no, I actually have, you can push left or push right on the mouse. There's another 3 buttons beyond that. So it's a lot more flexibility, and I utilize this in a lot of different areas where it's important. So you want to be aware of those kinds of concepts along the way. The systems also have a number of different features that we can talk about what comes with the system. The software comes with the system, and any software that this includes a 30-day trial to McAfee. Yeah, forget about that. This includes a trial version of Office, a 30-day. Yeah, forget about that. But there are also some other things that you really don't need to take into consideration anymore. You want to be aware that these items exist, but really the idea here of the cache memory, and there's the front side bus, the memory speed. These are different items. There's a number of different specifications with any new system that you're getting that you don't need to worry about. This is, okay, as your computer price goes up, a lot of these different specifications follow along. They're good for comparing oranges to oranges, but these aren't options. These are just minor features. It's kind of like your car has 4 tires on it. And, you know, when you buy a brand new car, it has this size air filter. Well, okay. Do we really need to compare the air filter size of this particular Chevy Camaro against the air filter size of the Ford Mustang? And the answer is no. There are a lot of features like this that they try to play up, and I think at times that somehow they've gotten into the idea that we're going to overload them with all kinds of information. We're going to give them all kinds of different knowledge, and it's going to confuse them. And the reality is, it does confuse people. This is one of those questions. This is probably, if I were going to say any one question that is the most asked worthless question, and that's no offense to anybody who asks the question, it's this: do I really need this much more cache? Do I need this much more front side bus? Do I need this much more memory speed? And the answer is no. They're just doing this to confuse you. They're doing this just to play games with you and make it sound more impressive. And that's not what we want. That's not what you want. At least, I hope. This is Benjamin Rockwell. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I'll be back with more in just a moment. I'm constantly looking for the right place to get the things that are on my nerd wish list. It's not easy. There are so many stores that have gone out of business. There are so many shady characters online, or so many of them are just simply not capable of handling my needs in a one-stop shop. In 1979, 2 guys got together and built the brick-and-mortar company that could serve your tech needs. Of course, today, they've got an online presence, and it's called Micro Center. They've got tablets, iPad, yes, but also Android and Windows and all the accessories, too. They've got laptops, desktops, all-in-ones, Windows or Apple, of course, all covered here. Motherboards and processors, and, okay, all right, who are we kidding? It's really everything to build your own PC. Keyboards, mice, surge protectors, software, tools, and thumb drives. Enough. Look, from Apple to Zyxel, Micro Center has what you're looking for. 25 stores across the nation, or you can check them out online at microcenter.com. That's microcenter.com. The website, computertalkradio.com. I've been saying this over and over again. And that's because, we've got everything up online. Normally, I throw in the phone number once in a while. I want you to go read this. I want you to get the audio. The entire audio is there, but the text is more important, believe it or not, because I'm skipping over things. I'm covering stuff here and there, or not covering stuff, just to move us along. Now, let's get into some of those extras. You can spend a fortune on a computer, just like a car, but there's going to be certain things all the way along through here that I've got a number of suggestions that you need to be aware of that are just various things that you want to address. For instance, this is for standard computers, and tablets are different, but standard computers, external hard drives, the 4 terabyte external hard drive. It's cheap now. It's you're talking $100. It is not worth saving $15 to get a 1 terabyte drive. I want you to make sure that it's USB 3.0. That's the latest standard. But other than that, you're good. Get that external hard drive. We're going to use that for backups. We're going to use that for storing all of your data that is not crucial, as well as crucial data. We're going to use that for moving your information from the old computer to the new computer. If you've got somebody helping you, this is really an important thing to have. Thumb drives are another thing that goes along with this. Flash drives. We used to call them thumb drives. Printers. If you have purchased a printer in the last 10 years and it's working, don't buy one. For business, the laser printers are more expensive up front. Inkjet only exists for photo printer options. If you're really talking about somebody who's a shutterbug, go for the inkjet printer. Laser printer is the only direction I suggest for people in the business world. For students, either option is actually good. For around the house, if it's just simple stuff, especially some of these all-in-ones. And that is one of those situations where we get into the next item, scanners. There's an assortment of great scanners out there. People are going in two directions for that. Your smartphone, the camera in your smartphone is awesome. Use that as your scanner. The other option is, again, your all-in-one printer, which includes the scanner. And a fax, in case, yes, for whatever reason, you want to fax someone. Like, that's something that most people are doing these days. No, they're not. But, I throw that out there just in case, though, because sometimes people want to do that. For desktops, let's get into just the desktop upgrades. Battery backup. Cyber power is the big one for me right now. I've got you're going to be hearing a couple of reviews coming up soon on cyber power. APC, American Power Conversions, is another one that I'm particularly fond of. Cyber power has been making some great inroads, and I really like that. Cable management is another thing too. This is keeping your desktop looking nice. Just keeping it all tied together, and don't use zip ties. You can get some really nice looking stuff. This is the Velcro wraps and stuff like that. Extra cords for your accessories. If you buy one iPhone cord, buy another one. If you buy a micro USB cord, buy a second one. These days, I know some of these cords run $20, and you really don't want to buy a second one, but it's kind of rough if you're relying on that to charge your phone and your old cord dies and you have to have your phone that day. Yeah. Laptops. A carrying case. The basic classic black. It's still around. There are a number of nice options with characters these days. Protection is what you're looking for. Don't get the cheap, flimsy black pack. Just get something that's solid, something that's built for laptops. An extra battery. If you're traveling more than twice a year, that's my cutoff. If you travel more than twice a year, and I'm talking traveling like in a plane or long drives in the car or a train. Yeah, planes, trains, automobiles. There you go. You want this. You're going to try to get the salesperson to wheel and deal and throw in something like this to close the deal. This has long been a good closing tool for them. A docking station is an option as well. If you are frequently at a desk, someplace you're utilizing this laptop more like a desktop, that's an option. It keeps you from having to unplug and plug in the keyboard and mice and all of that on a regular basis. Great option to go with. Tablets. Number of different things here. The carrying case. These range from very simple, luxury, durable, waterproof, and so forth. Get a screen protector if you're getting a tablet. That's something also that if you're buying a tablet and the screen protector, you can get them to usually throw in the installation of the screen protector for free. Not the screen protector itself, but the actual install. And that's something I go with there. That's a nice little tip for you. Portable battery. And I utilize portable batteries on a regular basis. This is kind of like an extra charger, especially if you've got one that has the charger built in. And this is just like a laptop. You don't know if you need a charger away from home, so have that battery with you. And apps. If you're giving out a tablet, I want you to figure giving $50 in apps. This is an Apple Store or a Google Play gift card. This is a must for starting off the recipient of this tablet right. Most of the apps that you need are going to be free, but there's a few of them along the way that you're going to say, look, I got you this card, $50 for you to spend on some apps and to get you going and to try it out. That's really an ideal thing. External keyboard. That's the last item for tablets. This is a must-have for anybody who is utilizing a tablet in the professional realm. This is it's a must-have. Anywhere else, even if they're only utilizing this mildly professionally, this tablet, they can deal with the internal one, or you can deal with the internal one. But if you're really expecting this to replace your laptop, yeah, the external keyboard is a must. This is Benjamin Rockwell. We'll be back with more Computer Talk Radio in just a moment.
Hey guys, this is Benny Rockwell. Most of us use video cameras nowadays, but what about those old movie films in the back of your closet? Well, let me tell you about Legacy Digital Productions. They specialize in taking your old memories on film, videotape, and slides and digitizing them to DVDs. Imagine Grandpa's old 8mm and 16mm films that are just sitting in a box getting old and fading away. Legacy Digital will clean and recondition those films, capture them digitally frame by frame, and then produce beautiful DVDs of your precious memories on long-lasting, archive-quality discs. They don't use a projector, and your films can't be damaged in the process, the best available for families like yours. The final results are gorgeous. What better way to preserve those precious memories for future generations? Call right now, mention my name, Benny Rockwell, and receive a 30% discount on your order. Call toll-free 1-866-2-LEGACY. That's 1-866-2-LEGACY. 1-866-253-4229. And tell them Benny sent you. Your memories are priceless. So call 866-2-LEGACY now.
The website. You want to write this down. You want to have this handy because if you've missed any of this, and I say this because there are different portions throughout, you want this. ComputerTalkRadio.com. ComputerTalkRadio.com. There are a number of special considerations you're going to do for the computer purchase. Gaming and youth. Gaming considerations. These lean towards heavier graphics usage. They're going to have the higher CPU, the higher RAM, but they're really going to be leaning towards that heavier graphics. I want you, if you're buying this for a gamer, if you're buying a computer for a gamer, or you are a gamer, you're buying it for yourself. Yeah, so you're buying one for a gamer. All right. I want you to choose something that is capable of running the 3 most powerful games that the recipient is going to play. If you're the recipient, your 3 most likely games, the 3 games you want to play right now, this may involve a specific video card. It may involve specific amounts of RAM. It may involve a specific speed onto the internet. Okay. Youth who are not heavily into gaming, they can work with most of the normal options. But I do want to throw out one youth consideration that I always talk about, and that is that you keep the computer in a public area and that you monitor usage. Now, this is something else that really applies to everybody. Malware software. Now, the computer you buy is going to come with a 30, 60, 90-day, whatever it is, package. But this package is a trial package. It's to protect you for those 30, 60, 90 days. You want to buy it. You want to upgrade from that trial to the full version. You don't want this computer to go unprotected for any length of time, especially if we're talking about youth. The youth are more daring. Youth will wander in to areas where they really shouldn't be going. We know this. Youth are curious. Children and teenagers will do things that they really shouldn't be doing, and that's okay. And why do I say that's okay? Because they have to experience the failures in life as well as the successes. And how do we find failures and successes? It's not by being status quo. Now, that having been said, we want to guide them. We want to protect them. We want to do right by them. So that malware software is the key thing there for everybody. But again, especially for the youth. Senior citizens. This is another field that this is always going to be a number of different considerations that you're going to have to take into plan. You're going to have to plan out the considerations. Here we go. Item 1, screen size. This is a must for anybody who's moving into reading glasses. This is something that maybe even beyond the reading glasses. Okay, so Steve is legally blind. He utilizes a larger monitor and he gets up closer because he's basically got macular degeneration. What that means is in the center he can't see anything, but he utilizes his peripheral vision, the outer vision, if you will, and he uses that to read. And he can do that. But that does mean he needs a larger monitor, so he utilizes that. There are special keyboards available with larger letters. There are a variety of mouse options for people who have arthritis. One of the things that I've come across is the trackball. Logitech still offers the trackball, and that is a distinct option for people who are dealing with certain issues like, yes, arthritis, and so forth. Ergonomics are a distinct factor. And as we get older, we're not able to adjust our body as easily as we used to. And there are going to be certain things, some of these different keyboards out there. Sometimes we're used to the standard flat arrangement of the keyboard. Sometimes the older folks might like an ergonomic style keyboard where the letters are twisted just a little bit. They might curve or they might adjust it up a little bit. This is okay. You might also check the chair. You might want to check the desk placement. You might want to check the monitor height. Monitor height is a key thing that can throw people off. See, we want to plan all of these different purchases, all of these different gifts out carefully. I want you to consider when you're doing these gifts, when you're buying a computer for somebody, it's not just buying a computer and we just give it to them. We just shove it in their direction. We just say, here it is, and go have fun. One of the things I do, well, yeah, and you might look into this too, Team Viewer. It's a special software package. Team Viewer, if this is a gift for somebody who is even a 10-minute drive away, Team Viewer will allow you to remote control their system, work with them, and find a solution to whatever problem that they may be running across. Patience is the last gift that I can, the last option amongst these gifts that I can throw in. You must be patient. We all should be patient with the gift recipient because they may be dealing with computer issues that they haven't dealt with before. That's my experience, at least. We're going to close this up here in just a moment here on Computer Talk Radio. Years ago, I found a web hosting company that fit my needs as a computer nerd, as a radio show host, and, well, a normal person. Recently, though, it became clear to me that it was time to upgrade. I had a choice between my old plan and the new one at 7 times the cost. It was that awkward point where I could choose between a sip of water or being dunked in a pool. I searched around, comparing the many options for someone like me. After looking for 3 weeks, there it was, SiteGround. In proper fashion, I tested their customer service, their knowledge, and their care, their willingness to do things the right way. The SiteGround salesman made sure that I didn't overbuy and get a 50-gallon bucket when all I needed was a 1-gallon bucket. The folks at SiteGround know WordPress, Joomla, and more. SiteGround.com. S-I-T-E ground.com for your web hosting needs. SiteGround. I'm going to give out the website in a moment. I want you to know why I'm giving out the website, though, because what happens is this show, Computer Talk Radio, is broadcast in a number of different formats for a number of different stations across the country. Additionally, you may have missed part of this program. You may have just sailed along through and you realize, hey, I need to go back and do notes on this. I need to look at Ben's notes. And that's me, of course, Benjamin Rockwell. But let me go through everything so just quickly, just the highlights. We talked about why we do this. It's Christmas time. Everybody's buying computers. And, well, not everybody, but you got the idea there. We talked about desktops, laptops, tablets, all-in-ones. We talked about your budget points. That's probably the big area that everybody looks at. Everybody asks me, what kind of budget should I account for? And I lay it out. That's been covered here in this week's show. Windows, Mac, or Linux, that's not so much of a big question anymore. I still want to encourage people to stretch and to grow, but you typically know which direction you want to go there. Brand, I talk about brands. I talk about the CPUs and kind of deciphering which CPU is from which generation and so forth. We also talked about the hard drive, that's your storage space, your live memory space, which we call RAM, video graphics cards, the optical drives. Yeah, that's the DVD, the CD, Blu-ray. We talked about the monitors, the screens, keyboards and mice, this thing called cache, C-A-C-H-E, front side bus, memory speed, and then we also talked about the extras, all of the different extras you might want to consider in there, as well as other special considerations for specific recipients like gamers, youth, or senior citizens. In closing, we've been doing this buyer's guide for years. I find that this is one of the references that listeners ask about the most, and I take very great care to make sure that I get every bit right. I spend upwards of about 6 hours or so prepping this entire thing for you, and I enjoy it. I utilize this. I will utilize this through until the next time we release one, which will be about probably in about July. We do this on a regular basis because the computer purchase evolves. It used to be you just walked in, you just threw money down on the counter, you said, hey, here, I want to buy it. And today, you want the best bang for your buck. You want to make sure that you get the system that is going to be the best for your family, for yourself, for your gift recipient. So again, I put all of this. If you missed any of this, you can get the podcast, you can get the written form, you can get all of my notes. And I cover a lot more in the notes than I actually present here on the radio. It's all available at computertalkradio.com. computertalkradio.com. This is Benjamin Rockwell. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. We'll catch you next week.
Let me tell you about The Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio. So I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with theradiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time.